I am a childhood trauma survivor. Not only survivor, but I'm thriving, living life to my fullest ability. As I create these videos, these shorts, it's to help to bring awareness. Obviously, there's nothing new under the sun. However, based on that fact, in every corner, we're going to need somebody to speak up about this particular issue because it does impact a lot of us and it's still impacting children right now as I speak. Recently, I have done an interview with Unfilters. Most of you who have subscribed to my channel may have come in contact with that particular interview. Hence, you've subscribed to my YouTube channel. Sincerely grateful for your presence and your support. It means a lot. Thank you. To all my GQ fans, thank you for joining me on my very first episode of Unveiling Resilience, Nurturing Well-Being After Childhood Trauma. I am Vivine, aka Alive, aka Green Queen, your mental health peer support specialist and performance and well-being life coach for women who have experienced childhood trauma. Understanding childhood trauma. Childhood trauma can manifest in various forms, including physical or sexual, neglect, witnessing violence, and relational trauma, each with its own profound impact on a person's life. The impact of trauma on an individual can be subtle, insidious, or outright destructive, affecting their daily emotions, mental health, and overall well being. Trauma can lead to a range of responses from anger, fear, grief, shame, and guilt to the development of mental health conditions such as PTSD, depression, and anxiety. Additionally, traumatic experiences can make it harder for individuals to trust others, develop and maintain healthy relationships, manage their emotions, and engage in daily activities, ultimately affecting various aspects of their lives. The effects of childhood trauma can also impair physical and brain development and increase the risk of mental and physical health problems, which may persist throughout their life. Let's explore various forms of childhood trauma. Physical abuse. This involves inflicting physical harm on a child, such as hitting, kicking, biting, even burning. It can lead to both immediate and long term physical and psychological problems. Sexual abuse. This involves any sexual acts with a child, whether forced or coerced. It can cause severe emotional distress, anxiety, low self esteem, and low self worth issues. Emotional abuse. This involves ongoing verbal and psychological mistreatment, such as name calling, threats, belittling. It can erode a child's self worth and self confidence. Neglect. This refers to a failure to provide a child with their basic needs, such as food, shelter, clothing, medical, or emotional support. It can hinder a child's overall development. community or school violence. Exposure to violence in the community or at school can be deeply distressing for children. It can lead to fear, anxiety, and difficulty forming healthy relationships. Witnessing domestic violence. Seeing or hearing violence between parents or caregivers can equally be traumatic for children. It can create a sense of fear, insecurity, and instability. Loss of a loved one, the death of a parent, sibling, or other close family members can be significant traumatizing for children. It can cause grief, sadness, and difficulty coping with loss. Natural disaster or terrorism. Children who experience natural disasters or acts of terrorism can develop post traumatic stress disorders and other emotional difficulties. Institutional racism. Children who experience discrimination or prejudice based on their race or ethnicity can suffer from low self esteem, feelings of isolation, and a sense of injustice. Parental incarceration. The absence of a parent due to incarceration can be a significant stressor for children. It can lead to emotional distress, financial hardship, and difficulty forming secure attachments. The impact of trauma on a person's life. Let's delve deep into the profound and lasting impacts childhood trauma can have on a child's development, affecting their emotional, social, and psychological well being throughout their lives. It can manifest in various ways, including emotional problems, difficulty regulating emotions, heightened anxiety, persistent depression, and emotional detachment. Behavioral problem, increased aggression, impulsivity, substance abuse, and self destructive behavior, not excluding promiscuity. Social problems, difficulty forming and maintaining healthy relationships, social withdrawal, low self worth, low self confidence, and low self esteem. Cognitive problems, attention difficulty, impaired memory, difficulty learning and processing information. Physical problems, chronic pain, adrenal and kidney weakness, autoimmune illnesses, and an increased risk of chronic health conditions. Unveiling behavioral patterns. Trauma can shape coping mechanisms such as hypervigilance, people pleasing, self isolation, and the list goes on. These behaviors can serve as survival strategies but can become barriers to healing. Survivors of traumatic experience often develop coping mechanisms to navigate their challenges. While these skills can be initially protective, they may hinder long-term personal growth and well-being. Coping skills can be categorized as bottom up and top down. Bottom up coping, also known as somatic or body focused coping, aims to calm the nervous system and is beneficial for those experiencing physical signs of distress, particularly trauma survivors. On the other hand, top-down coping focuses on changing how the nervous system responds to stress and can help individuals change their thoughts and perception about their traumatic experiences. It's important to know that the effectiveness of coping mechanism varies for each person, and a combination of both types of coping skills may be beneficial. Working with a trauma informed professional can help you identify and utilize healthy coping mechanisms tailored to your unique needs. Survivors have also recommended various coping strategies such as mindful counting, engaging in self care activities, reaching out to those who are awakened and conscious, practicing breath works or breathing, and progressive muscle relaxation. These strategies can help individuals manage the immediate and long term effects of trauma. It's essential for survivors to explore and identify coping mechanisms that works best for them, as there is no one size fits all approach when healing and recovering from traumatic experiences. Breaking the cycle of generational trauma. Childhood trauma often perpetuates a cycle passing from one generation to the next. How can understanding this cycle helps empower individuals to break free and create healthier patterns for future generations? This is how, by understanding the cycle of generational trauma, can empower you to break free and create healthier patterns for future generations. Generational trauma, also known as intergenerational, transgeneration, or secondary trauma, is the transmission of the negative effects of trauma from one generation to the next within families. This can occur through unresolved trauma, behavior patterns, and even epigenetic mechanisms. To break this cycle, individuals can take the following steps. Acknowledging the trauma. It's important to acknowledge the traumatic events that have occurred within our family or communities. Seek professional help. Getting professional help for both an individual and their children is crucial to breaking the cycle of generational trauma. Open and loving communication. Building resilience through open and loving communications between generations is one of the best ways to loosen the grips of generational trauma. Understanding the impact of trauma. By understanding how trauma affects individuals and families, one can begin to process breaking free from unhealthy patterns and behaviors, encouraging hope and healing. As we wrap up, let's focus on the hopeful aspect of our discussion. Recovery is possible, and understanding childhood trauma is the first step towards healing. Remember that you can continue to follow me as I upload different topics, different things regarding childhood trauma, generational trauma, and trauma in itself. Hopefully, this podcast will reach more people. Remember that acknowledging trauma is a gradual and ongoing process. It's okay to take small steps and progress at your own pace. If you find the emotions overwhelming, don't hesitate to reach out to a trauma informed coach, mental health professionals who can provide guidance and a safe space to support your needs on your healing journey. And in closing, thank you for joining me on Unveiling Resilience. Remember, understanding childhood trauma is a crucial part of the healing journey. If you have any questions or topic you'd like me to explore in future episodes, please feel free to reach out on my social media channels. Until next time, take care and nurture your resilience.